the Lord. In the book of Genesis in the Bible, there was this tower called the Tower of Babel. It was basically a tower which was built by men of that age. The intention behind building the Tower of Babel is that people during those days had a common language to communicate with one another. So they thought they will have a tower, a very, very tall tower, which they can build and, start exploring what's above the clouds, what is in the sky, etc. But God saw that it was wicked. Their intention was wrong. They were taking pride in themselves. They stopped to acknowledge God. They thought they were wise enough and they didn't need any kind of a God. But in contrast to their plans got frustrated. There was confusion because of that tower. From then on, there were multiple languages started in this world. So they were unable to communicate with one another and their plans were failed to exist. It really stands true to this day when man, in his quest for knowledge, goes beyond and assumes himself to be wise enough, stops acknowledging God, takes pride in his own work. There, the fall comes. The plans get frustrated and they would certainly fail in their mission. There were multiple incidences where the missions failed miserably when they became haughty and they started to take pride in themselves and they assumed themselves to be super powerful and felt that there is no need of God. Ever since this incident took place in the history of mankind, it has been so that whatever man, you know, idolizes and worships it other than God, there lies confusion, frustration, and absolutely no blessing but curse. This has been true. If you can, explore many of such incidences, this had been the consequence. But God sent his only begotten Son, to whom, when we look for help, they would be granted salvation. So Jesus is the Tower of Refuge. Why is there a need to look up to him? Why? Because ever since the fall of man, the heart of man has been plagued by sin. Sin is ruling. Pride, lust, lust of eyes, lust of flesh, pride of life. The entire world was based on these three principles rather than being grateful to God, rather than on God's principles. The entire world has been running on these three principles. It is like this: when a person is diagnosed with a certain kind of illness which has to be treated, but then he, let's imagine that he doesn't get the necessary treatment in time, then what would befall other than death for that person? It is exactly the same to all of us. Outwardly, everything might look really healthy, but then a keen observation into things that are taking place around in the world can make anybody understand. It's as simple as that. What is our future? You know, things are at stake. The coming generations, looking into the next generations that we have, our children, they're so very addicted to technology, to the gadgets. They are merely controlled by those gadgets. Looking into our own homes, we have this distress in our hearts. But let me tell you, dear friends, there is hope. Jesus is the hope to, to this generation. Jesus is our hope. Jesus is the answer. Jesus is the doctor who can heal, us of this plague called sin. Sin, pride, sin has so very plagued our hearts that it is time for us to run unto Him, to run to this tower and get healed. He is the tower of refuge. Those who look up to Him have forgiveness, have a new life, and are saved from their sins. Jesus is the answer. Praise the Lord.